To create our cutout for our battery charger, we'll approach it the same way by creating an offset plane. So let's go to construct offset plane, and we just need to select a flat surface here, and the side of our component will work perfectly. So we'll click on that, and then we can take that plane and just drag it out. Let's go to a top view, and again, the dimension isn't critical, just get it in front, and we'll click OK. And now we can create a sketch on that plane. So let's go to a view so we can see we have access to that plane, and go to create sketch and just be careful to select that plane. And now we'll go to a straight view facing it, and we're going to project in certain geometry. So let's get rid of every component we don't need. And I don't need to see the circuit playground, the slide switch, don't need the battery. Well, actually, I need the battery charger. I don't need the battery. And we don't need to see the construction plane. And for our sketches, we just need to see the current sketch. So that's fine. Okay, now we can click on P for project. And we're going to do it the same way by trying just to select the outer edge. So make sure you have it as specified entities instead of bodies selected. And we're going to just select these edges that we're going to need. So we'll start with the side. Grab the top here, and then we're gonna be careful here not to select the back portion here, but the front of this port there, and then we'll grab the edges here. And we'll just continue tracing this. Now when you get to this shape, because it's cylindrical, I can't select the edge, so we're actually going to have to select the face, which is okay. And that's actually another different approach you can take. If you're having problems selecting the edges, it's okay if you just select the faces. The only issue I'm trying to avoid there, it'll end up projecting all the 4 lines, for example, here that makes that shape. And so because we're going to do an offset onto this, it may make that part a little more complicated, because then we'll have to go and delete or edges that we don't need. So that's why I'm just being careful just to select edges so we can skip deleting edges later. Okay, and then the final thing we're going to want to select is the bottom edge right here. And then we can click OK. And then we'll remove this bottom body. And then we'll also remove our battery charger. And we have this shape here. If yours looks a little bit different, let's say you have a few extra lines or you're missing a few lines, don't worry about it. Just continue following along and you'll see which lines you'll need to add or delete. So we still have to remove a few lines that we don't need. For example, this one here, I'm going to hit delete, and then this one here as well. And then I want to extend these lines down. So I'm going to hit L for line, take this and bring it down straight. Hit the check mark, and we'll do the same thing with this side here. Now you don't want to snap it to this point because that'll give us a curved line. Notice it says 88.9 degrees. Just bring it straight down. Make sure you have that 90 degree there. You'll see the constraint there telling us it's a 90 degrees. If it's crooked, just grab your horizontal/vertical constraint and make that line vertical. Now we're ready to perform an offset, so we'll go to Sketch, down to Offset. And we can try double clicking, but it's not going to select it in one chain because there's multiple lines here. Sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. So we can just continue clicking here on each of these to give it an offset around the entire profile. We're going to give this a negative 0.2 offset. Click OK. We just need to remove one of these lines in order to separate these two different profiles. So what we'll do is I'll just select this top line here, that interior line, and I'll hit X to turn it into a construction line. Now if I select this entire thing, the whole thing highlights, which is what I want, and not separate profiles. Okay, now I can click on Stop Sketch. We'll bring back that bottom portion of our body. Actually, sorry, the top portion is what we need. And then E for extrude, select our profile, and we're going to go straight in with it. And we'll do the same thing, so we'll make sure it's set to cut. For distance, we're going to go to To Object, and we're going to go to the inside of our enclosure. Make sure the operation is set to cut, and we'll click OK. All right, now let's see how that looks. So we'll bring back our battery charger and also our bottom portion here. And let's take, this should be a right view, so we'll click on that on our view cube here and zoom right in, and that looks pretty good. So we'll zoom out. Let's bring everything else into view. We'll take one final look. This looks great. Our slide switch looks good. We'll remove our top enclosure. Take a look on the inside. So everything is looking good, but again, only one way to tell. So let's send this to the printer and see how everything fits together. Actually, there's one more thing we need to do before we can send this to the printer. Let's take a look at our top part here, and we're going to need to create a hole on this side and on the opposite side so that we can insert an M3 bolt and have it go through our circuit playground and then into this slot where we're going to put an M3 nut and thread it through that. So to do so, all we need to do is create a sketch and just extrude it. So we'll bring our top part into view and we'll go to create sketch on that top surface, and then we'll remove that top surface and hit P for project, and we're simply going to select this bottom circle here and the opposite one right on top. Click OK. And you should see that little purple outline. So we'll click on stop sketch and we'll bring in that top part into view. And a quick way to isolate that part is just to click on it and go to isolate. You'll see that right at the bottom here. And that removes all other parts besides that one. And then we also need to see that sketch. So let's go to sketches and make sure we toggle that last sketch on. And then it's just a matter of clicking E for extrude, select both of these profiles, and then we'll navigate to the underside, bring this down, distance, we're going to change it to all, click OK, and that's it. Okay, so now we can simply, let's collapse all these sketches, and then we can just go back to that top part here in our browser, right click, go back to unisolate, and that'll bring all the other parts back. Get rid of sketches here, and now we're ready to send this to the printer.